Hello, so today we're going to discuss weight, length, and volume. So what I have here is a digital scale. So when you turn it on, you need to make sure it says 0.0. So you're starting off with nothing and your weight won't be too high or too low. It'll be accurate when you weigh things. So this rock weighs 224.5 grams. This scale measures grams. Other scales might measure pounds, depending on what you're weighing. So this is like a food scale or a scale for experiments. So this charger, I'll place it on here, give it a moment to settle. And that is 78.9 grams. Next is our pair of pliers. That is 162 grams. And then finally our bell. That is exactly 72 grams. So next we are going to discuss length. This is a ruler. At the top it has inches, which we usually use in America. And at the bottom are centimeters. So that's just two different ways of calculating a measurement. So when you're using a ruler, you need to start at the 0 line here. Some rulers will actually have the number 0, but here it's just a line to show you your starting point. So you're gonna line that up with the 0 line and then see where it ends at the tip. So this is about 3 inches long. Okay. So you see the charger is not as long. I'll line that up. So that is close to about 2 inches long. Our pliers are much longer. So if I line that up, I see that is about 6 inches long. And then our bell, I'm going to measure up and down. And then measure it to the golden top. So that is almost 4 inches long. Oh, 3 inches long, I'm sorry. It's looking this way. Okay. And then the last form of measurement we will be discussing is volume. So there is a formula to find volume. You would look at the sides and multiply the width, length, and height. But when you have an object like this, it's a bit hard to find the volume because it's hard to see the sides and there's lots of curves. It's hard to determine the shape, let alone how many sides there are. So there is another method called water displacement. So we are going to pay attention to how many milliliters, I don't know why I'm doing that all day, of water there are. And then we will see when we put the rock inside that the water level will rise. So we will measure that again to find the difference. So that is at about 380. And so to find the volume of this rock, we will subtract 380 milliliters from 300 and we will get 80. So the rock is 80 milliliters in volume. So next we have our charger. We will start again at 300 milliliters. So that is about 370. So we'll see 370 minus 300 to get 70 milliliters for our volume. Okay. Next we have our pliers. So let's say about 320. So 320 minus 300, that is 20 milliliters in volume. Right, and last we have our bell. So you put the bell upside down so that air wouldn't get trapped underneath. And then we're starting at 500 milliliters. I'm gonna place the bell inside and push it down to try to get rid of some of that air inside. So that goes to about 520. So 520 minus 500 is 20 milliliters in volume. So why do Why do we use volume? So volume, we're measuring how much space it takes up. So we might need to know that for cooking, for storing things, for making sure we have enough room if we're trying to get organized. So we are trying to determine if we have enough space for things. And then weight, we are discussing weight so you can see how heavy things are, if you can take things certain places like the airport, or if you can drive over a road if you're over the weight limit, you don't want to break things, or you can measure to see how healthy you are. And then length, we're also measuring growth. So you can go to the doctor, make sure you're growing right, or you can measure different plants, like in the experimental video with the sunlight, different sunlight levels to see which level of sunlight is best for the plant. And also when you're building things. So if you want to make sure your measurements are right so that your building or whatever you're making doesn't collapse or break.
And that's length, width, and.
And that is weight, length, and volume.